Aquarius, it's Gregory Scott here to do your astrology forecast for October 2015. It's really nice to be with you. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to give you a rundown of what's happening via the astrological influences, just to give you an idea of what you'll be working with. And the first thing that happens is on the 30th of September, Pluto starts to connect with the Sun by forming a square aspect, okay? And your Sun is in your 9th house of education and travel and expansion, and Pluto's in the 12th house of spirituality and doing service. What this means for you particularly, and this square lasts until the 12th of October, which means that half of October is going to be influenced by this, is that you discover a new sense of spirituality, a new way of connecting with spirit that's really going to make you feel more harmonious and make you feel like this is something that's easily accessible and is going to have a positive impact on your life. So the beginning of October is a great time for you to either do research into new spiritual paths that you've been interested in, and that might work for you because you'll be guided towards the thing that works properly and that's most applicable. But it could also be that you just start to get some new messages coming in that guide you anyway, so it works vice versa, or that you connect directly with spirit and you get specific messages about your life that you then need, okay? So it is a very important time in terms of you waking up, and it's not something necessarily that you have to work towards, it's kind of being done for you, so expect that to be available. The other thing is that Pluto starts to square Uranus, which is in your 3rd house of communication, and this square lasts much longer. It starts on the 30th of September and it lasts until the 13th of May 2016. So that's 9 months, okay? So this is going to be a long-term influence. And Uranus is in your 3rd house of communication, like I said, but this new sense of spirituality is going to inform the way you express yourself. So if you've always talked a certain way, if you've always had a mental kind of atmosphere that you've expressed through your words, that's going to alter, and people will start to notice that you're coming across differently. Communication isn't just words, it's body language, it's everything. So there's going to be some shift in your outlook and other people will notice that. So that's something really positive to look forward to. The 1st of October sees your midheaven, your Jupiter and your Mars all sitting in your 8th house of other people, legal matters, paperwork, even death and sort of taboo subjects. And really what your greatest aptitude is, and especially at the beginning of the month, but for the duration of the month, starting straight away, is that you're very good at really focusing on the detail. You can really understand people, what they're trying to say in a clear, level-headed way. You can make good decisions, you can commit to things, you can sign contracts, buy houses, sell houses, all of that stuff is something that you're not going to have problems with. Order things off the internet, all of those things are going to be very smooth and will happen easily for you. On the 3rd of October, Chiron starts to square the moon. And the moon is in your 5th house in Gemini, Chiron is in your 2nd. Any sort of disappointments that you may be feeling around your financial situation will be outweighed by the positive relationship connections you have with the people in your life. If you've got a choice, should I try and sort out my money this month or should I have a good time with friends and family? Choose the latter. Enjoy your personal relationships. The biggest themes here for October, Aquarius, are that sense of other people, that connection with them, and also the desire to expand, to educate yourself, to travel even, but to breathe new life into your perspective, to broaden your horizons, all of those things. It's not the best time to tackle all of your financial commitments and obstacles. It's just geared much more towards good luck and good fortune and success in your interpersonal relationships. So focus on what actually has a positive outcome. On the 4th of October, the moon starts to square your Sun, your Mercury and your North Node, all of which are in that 9th house. Okay, so by aligning yourself with education, or by doing something that educates you, or by going on a trip, by learning something new, you really feel good about your life. So if you're feeling kind of glum, or if you're feeling less than satisfied at the beginning of the month, that's the way out. That's the way to make things okay. That's the way to fix your feelings, as they say, in a helpful way, in a non-damaging way. And also it will leave you with new skills and new cultural experiences, so that there's really no harm in that. On the 5th of October, Pluto starts to oppose the moon, and it creates a T-square with Uranus, which is in your 3rd house, okay? So all of these things combined, the learning, the new spiritual consciousness, all of that feeds into creating this new output that you're going to have, this new ability to communicate. So it's really important for you to be open and receptive to information that comes in, especially at the beginning of the month, because you'll be taught some important lessons. And that's not negatively, in an important way. You'll really, the theme of enlightenment will really feature largely in your life. Pluto trines your Jupiter and your Mars in your 8th house from the 6th of October onwards. And again, that's very positive, because Jupiter and Mars are very strong, and they really make you engage with other people in a very direct and very practical way. So whether you're working or traveling or any of those things, you will have contact with other people. But Pluto is going to shift your perspective and make you look a little bit deeper than you usually would. And I can't be any more specific than something that's always been a part of your outlook. And I get the feeling that something that's been negative. So whether you've judged quite quickly, or whether you're you think you can know someone just by shaking their hand or something like that, something ridiculous like that, that's going to be suspended, and I think you're going to have a much broader and much more spiritual and much more generous outlook, especially at this beginning time of October. The moon trines Uranus on the 7th, and what's interesting is that your 4th, 5th and 6th house are totally empty, and the moon and Uranus almost create a bridge over them. So communicate harmoniously with people in your life, the people you run into, and what you could end up with is getting real insights and real resolution to things in your life that are painful, especially in regard to family, romance and work. And the key, the trick, is to not hide in your house and talk to no one, but to continue to speak to people and be confident and be yourself, but to speak your truth, and even speak to people about some of the things in your life that are painful. And you may be surprised at the response you get, and people will offer you insights that can really move you forward on your journey. On the 9th of October, Venus goes into Virgo in your 8th house. Now, if you were a paper pusher, if you were an amazing bureaucrat before, at the beginning of this month, you are now the superhero of all bureaucrats, because anything legal, anything written, anything official is going to be your bread and butter, and you will love it, and you will take to it like a duck to water. And even if you hate filling out forms, now's the time to do it, because you can do it. So that applies to every Aquarius, whether you like forms or officialness or not. You will enjoy it around this time of the month. The other thing that happens is that Mercury comes out of retrograde on this day, and Mercury is the planet of communication, and it rules things like forms and official contracts and things. As an astrologer, I would say that don't buy a new house and don't sign a contract either when Mercury is in retrograde or when Venus is in retrograde. Okay, it makes things more complicated. But Mercury in particular rules information and rules exchanging ideas and coming across and being understood properly. And it has been in retrograde since the 17th of September. And it comes out now on the 9th of October. So things are really clear, things will start to move forward again. And that's also why I think the beginning of the month would be a good time to really do something that isn't as serious, that's just for your benefit, where you can allow for errors and miscommunication. On the 10th of October, Venus also forms another relationship with Uranus, and that happens until the 14th. And before it was kind of building a bridge, but this time it's kind of creating friction. And you're going to be really energized in terms of the way you come across. And I think you're going to be very headstrong, and I think you'll have certain ideas. And I think that if other people start to cross you, I think you're going to react quite aggressively. And I think you'll be very certain of yourself at this stage of the month. And if people do something that you think is ridiculous or stupid, I don't think you're going to put up with it. So just be aware of that. Tap into that spiritual insight that you got at the beginning of the month and that you continue to have. And this is the test, really. You know, that's the sad thing, that sometimes we get tested. But now it's one thing being spiritual and holistic and loving when everything's fab, but it's a little bit tougher when people start to get on your nerves. So now it's time for you to practice what you've, not that you've preached it, but to practice these principles in action, and you will certainly have opportunities for practice. On the 11th of October, there's another T-square, lots of T-squares, lots of friction kind of going on, and this is between the Sun and Uranus, and the outcome to that T-square, that area of friction, is in your 12th house. So any problems with other people, any lack of harmony, any kind of conflict can be resolved by applying spiritual principles, not by compromising, by continuing to speak your truth, but speaking it in a way that's constructive, okay? On the 13th of October is the new moon, and that happens in Libra, right on the top of your chart. So if you think of the chart in terms of the time of day, the rising sign is sunrise, midheaven is noon, the descendant is sunset, and the IC, the Imam Coli, is the middle of the night. And right around your noon position, you've got that new moon happening. So the new moon is at the top of your life, really. It's kind of, noon is when you're most active, when you're most like yourself, and this new moon comes in and it says, let's open up a kind of channel, let's open up a receptacle for harmony to come in. And it's not that you have to manage your feelings and that people annoy you and you're all alone managing that. You're going to learn really important lessons on how to become a very diplomatic person, and the skills that you learn now will be with you for life. So this month is a teaching month that will really help you relate to other people in a very positive, constructive, productive way, and especially how to manage your feelings around other people's behavior and how that affects you. This is a very grown-up month in terms of it, and it's very positive. From the 16th of August until the 13th of October, Jupiter has also been in opposition to Neptune. And that has kind of given you also a little bit of a grumbly feeling in terms of sometimes you were held back by other people, and that you could have achieved some of your dreams if it hadn't been that you were blocked by certain teachers or bosses or life circumstances, which is, you know, a little bit down the road of resentment and kind of blaming other people for some of your hardships. That starts to fade away, and I think your relationship with people will become less strained, and you won't have to work so hard to apply these spiritual principles, and your feelings will just be more evened out naturally. On the 17th, the moon starts to trine Uranus. Uranus is in that third house of communication, and the moon is now in Sagittarius next to your Saturn and Ascendant in Sagittarius in the 11th house. Okay. You're going to be very clear at this time of the month now what your dreams are, and you're going to start to try and push towards achieving those. I think the beginning of the month has been a little bit chaotic, and I think other people have just kind of influenced you in a certain way, and you felt like you've had to firefight at certain times, but now the path clears again, and I think you'll feel much more energy in terms of moving forward. On the 19th and 20th, the moon starts to conjunct Pluto in your 12th house. And this is the time of, these 2 days are the time of the month when I think you will feel most at peace. I think you will feel most spiritual. I think you will integrate the lessons of the month so far, and you will really start to make sense of them and really understand the bigger picture and the bigger meaning of what you've been going through. I don't think necessarily it's a hugely problematic month for you, don't get me wrong. I just think that you have to really sometimes be disciplined in terms of your own feelings, and you have to sometimes bite your tongue, and that you're very good at focusing on the details, okay? That's what I really think. But now on the 19th and 20th, all of that work pays off, and you start to understand the bigger meaning, you understand other people, you do have that holistic outlook, that approach, and that feeling of, hey, I just learned something here, and as a result of that I have broadened my horizons, which has been something that you've wanted to do all month anyway. So rather than go on a trip, and that's where your lessons and your learning comes from, it comes from the interactions you have with other people and how they affect you and what they tell you about yourself and what you learn and blah blah blah, all of that stuff. Okay, so really, I mean, you know, if I have a problem, I'm going to come to an Aquarius. If I have a problem with another person, I'm going to come to an Aquarius after this month, because I know they'll have experience of it and they'll know how to overcome it in a constructive and positive way. So this is really gold that you're getting here via your life experiences this month. On the 23rd, Neptune, the planet of the dream and the planet of water, it starts to form a relationship with the sun. And the sun is your ego and your sense of identity. Now, what you'll notice is that your intuition, your spiritual channel, your ability to communicate with the unmanifest, with the unseen, it really takes a step forward and it becomes much stronger. This trine, this connection between these two planets, is there from the 23rd of October until the 6th of November, so 2 weeks, really. You've got this. And it means that you will get a lot more messages, you will get much greater insights, and if you're interested in, you know, any of the communicative arts, whether it's healing, or whether it's reading tarot cards, or whether it's being a medium, that's something you can really excel at. So if you're trying to either prove it to yourself that you have an ability, or whether you're trying to take courses or to actually learn those skills, then this is a really good time to look into that, because your channel is going to be open and active. It's always there, but sometimes it's just heightened and sometimes it feels weaker. On the 25th, the moon begins to trine Saturn. Saturn is in your 11th house of hopes and dreams, and I think you're going to be clear now of what you want to achieve, where you're coming from, and you're going to feel comfortable doing that. So you step into your own power. I think you become more kind of focused on yourself, and you become less interested in other people and the response that you're going to get. Interesting. I think your Mars and your Jupiter manage that a little bit anyway. I don't think you're going to step too much out of line, and I think you can relax a little bit, because it'll sort of be managed, but again, just kind of try and put a lid on it. So it could be that you take a step backward, okay? You've done all of this work managing people and being around people and being constructive, and now it might be that you think you can relax, but you can't. So continue to apply yourself, continue to work on yourself in that sense, so you don't take a step back after all of this work that you've done. So continue to apply spiritual principles. Full moon is on the 27th, and this is really good. This is a blossoming, a coming to term, and it's in your 4th house of family. So it might be that something good happens in your family life, a new addition, a marriage, like a wedding. It could be the healing of a relationship that has not been so good, which would make sense with the conflict that you've had earlier in the month. So see where that leads you. But something really positive happens in your family life on the 27th. Finally, on the 31st of October, Halloween, there's a grand trine in water in your chart. And this kind of speaks to the Neptune-Sun connection. That makes you more intuitive. With a grand trine, it means that the veil kind of becomes thinner and it becomes even easier to get messages. So the Halloween is going to be a really kind of spiritual Halloween where, you know, it's a time of the veil kind of being thin anyway. But with all of the things conspiring here, it means that I feel that it's going to be a very eventful Halloween, and if you're interested in that kind of thing, either in a serious or in a fun way, then really look into either going to a seance or on a ghost hunt or anything like that. It could be fun. So I hope you found that useful. If you'd like a private reading with me, then please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. Click on the readings tab and you'll see the types of readings that I offer. I do astrology and tarot and numerology, and please remember to subscribe to the channel. Have a fantastic October, and I'll speak to you soon.